Let's talk a little Patrick Mahomes. So I'm getting some pushback for having him number 1, which I don't get at all. A lot of people are assuming he's going to lose Tyreek Hill. First off, we don't even know how that's going to play out. But even if we assume the worst, let's say Tyreek Hill gets cut tomorrow. What, Patrick Mahomes all of a sudden is in the top fantasy QB? Name one team, one NFL passer that has more options to throw to, better options than Patrick Mahomes, even without Tyreek Hill. You can't. Aaron Rodgers has Devontae Adams. He has Aaron Jones. But you can argue Damien Williams, Travis Kelce, Sammy Watkins, and Mecole Hardman. Maybe Matt Ryan's options are equivalent or close to it, but Deshaun Watson doesn't have more options. Andrew Luck doesn't have more options than Patrick Mahomes, even without Tyreek Hill. In the beginning of 2018, people were worried that there were too many mouths to feed, that they wouldn't know how to spread that offense around to give anybody their fair share. And if you remember back, Kareem Hunt owners were very worried about his production because he started off very, very slow. They figured things out. They moved the ball around efficiently. Pat Mahomes, his ceiling, his floor, even without Tyreek Hill, is probably around 40 to 42 passing TDs. He only ran for 2 TDs last year. He didn't need to run a ton, but given they'll be near the goal line a ton, they'll live in the red zone, it's feasible to think that Pat Mahomes could run for 5 or 6 touchdowns in 2019. And if he is without Tyreek Hill, you don't just take away Hill's 1,000, 1,200 yards and 7 to 10 touchdowns. Some of that will get absorbed directly by Mecole Hardman. And even if he just absorbed 60% of it, it's not like the targets won't increase across the board for Kelce, Damien Williams, and Sammy Watkins. If you take Damien Williams' last 6 games, so from week 14 through the 2 playoff games, in 6 straight games, he totaled over 100 total yards per game. He ran for 6 TDs in that time frame, and he pulled in 4 TD passes. He had 10 total TDs and 600 total yards in 6 games. Mahomes has the weapons, even without Tyreek Hill. And don't be shocked if Hardman is a lot better than people think. Don't let anybody talk you out of drafting Pat Mahomes in 2019. Now, great news for all Patrick Mahomes believers. This Tyreek Hill news, especially if it heads in the direction of him not playing in 2019 or missing a big chunk of time, Patrick Mahomes, who already has a ridiculous 4th round ADP, win a league material. The Tyreek Hill news might get it to fall into the 5th, which is highway robbery. I love when someone tells you that drafting a QB in the 4th round is early. That, oh, the 5th QB is so close to the 12th QB, Smitty. They were within 10 points. Why would I draft a QB early? That's such a mistake. Yeah, maybe if you think the QB is not going to throw for 45 TDs, but to tell somebody that a 45 TD passer isn't worth even a 3rd rounder, that to me is funny, and I love it, and I'll use it to my advantage. And so will all of my viewers and followers. It doesn't matter if QB 5 was close to QB 12. It doesn't matter how tightly packed the top 10 are. What matters is, what do you project, and are you going to be right? When I'm taking Patrick Mahomes, that means you're taking Kerryon Johnson, Phillip Lindsay, Mark Ingram, Chris Carson, Aaron Jones, Cooper Kupp, who I might add is getting drafted way too early, Terry Cohen, Jarvis Landry. Those are the players you're taking instead of Patrick Mahomes in the 4th round. When you argue that taking a QB in the 4th is early, you're arguing that your 6th round QB and your 4th drafted player is going to crush my Patrick Mahomes in the 4th and my 6th round player. And if I land that 6th round pick, and I mean if I hit a home run with it, if for whatever reason a Calvin Ridley falls to me, or Robert Woods or whoever, or I land a rookie running back that explodes, or somebody else that's going to have a monster season that's being undervalued, I crush that comparison. My QB, Pat Mahomes, versus your QB, and then the 2 players that we grabbed with those 6th and 4th round picks. Argue it all you want. Pat Mahomes is worth a 4th rounder. I hate to break it to you, but Pat Mahomes is worth way more than a 4th rounder. The only reason I'm taking him in the 4th is because I can. And I hope that we, all of the Pat Mahomes believers out there, can start taking him at the top of the 5th. Stay tuned for more Tyreek Hill news. Depending on what breaks on Tyreek Hill, if he's released, if he faces a big-time suspension, we'll know what we're dealing with and what we can get away with in terms of drafting Patrick Mahomes in 2019.